I've had a few requests for how to thread my Juki DU1181. There are a lot of different videos out there, but I decided to go ahead and walk you through the steps that I take to thread my machine. I have seen it done a couple of different ways, but this is how I do it. So I start with this post at the top of the machine. I take my thread and go from back to front through the top hole. I don't think it really matters which one you go through, just that you go through one of them. So I'm going to pull a length of thread down, and then we'll move to the next step. So the next section we're going to be working with is this section here with this small tension knob. So there's two thread guides here. There's the upper and the lower thread guide. The first thing we're going to do is pass our thread from behind the upper thread guide and through this hole. You can use your fingers for this. You can use a pair of tweezers. I normally just use my fingers. Sometimes I add a pair of tweezers, so I'm going to, this is a little awkward working from behind my camera, I'm sorry guys. Going from behind to the front of that, I'm going to grab that thread and pull through. I don't know if you can hear that, but that was thunder. So I pulled that through. Now I want to make sure that this thread is going between those two tension discs that are there on the machine. Sorry, my hand's all up in the way. There's two tension discs here. You want to make sure that your thread is going through the middle of them. So now you're going to take your thread and pass it from front to back of this other thread guide on the bottom. Just like that. And now we'll move on to the next section. Okay, in this section here, there's a few sort of moving parts. We have a couple of different thread guides. We have a few. We have this one. We have this one underneath, this little hook thread guide here. We also have this spring guide here. We have the tension plates. There are two of them here. And we have our tension adjustment wheel. So what I like to do when I'm threading this part is I like to raise the presser foot. That way these two tension plates are loose. So if you see here, they're very tight. They're not moving when I nudge them with the tweezers. If I raise my presser foot, now you can see they're way more loose. I can kind of wiggle them. So what I want to do is take the tail of my thread and make sure that it goes between those two tension discs. I'm coming up and around. Then I'm going to hook it through that little tension loop there, and you can see it's pulling. So what I've done here is I've gone down the side between the tension discs, around and behind that loop. Now I'm going to pull like so. So now I'm looped around the tension disc, behind this little spring loop, and then behind this hook guide. So now I'm going to take my thread and place it inside this thread guide. So I'm going to put some arrows on the screen here so that you can see exactly where my thread is going. I've adjusted a little bit here. I'm still holding my thread. Now I'm going to take my thread and go through the thread uptake lever from right to left. We're back in front of the machine, and we're coming out of the thread uptake lever up here on the left side of this bar, and we're going to hook into the thread guide on the left side. Alright, so now we're at the front of the machine, and there are a couple of different thread guides here. So we have this one, which is a coil style guide, and then this one right back here, if you can see it against my finger, is a little loop. that your thread is going to go through. So starting with the top one, I find that the easiest way to do it for me, I've seen folks sit here and thread it through like this. And they grab their thread and pull it through. That's fine, it works. But with the coil style guide like that, this is how I do it. I hold tension with my left hand off the machine, and I take the tail and I place it over the coil, and I wrap the tail behind and around. And there you go, it's through that loop. I'll show you that again. It's in there. All right, from there, we're going to move down to the other little loop. Pass it through that loop in front of the needle. I'm going to grab it, pull it through. So now you've gone through both of these thread guides. You want to make sure you go through both of them. Okay, so next we're going to thread our needle. Now, I like to hold a little bit of tension out to the left of my thread, and then I pinch the thread between my thumb and forefinger, and I've kind of lowered my needle a little bit so that you can better see what I'm doing here, and then I pass the thread through the needle from left to right. I'm going to grab my thread and keep a little bit of tension on this side, and the reason I do that is just so that it doesn't get wrapped around my safety guide, nor does it get wrapped around the needle. So then we can just move our thread underneath and behind our presser foot, put in our bobbin thread, and we're ready to sew. I hope this helps those who asked me for a machine threading video. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I will do my best to answer them. If I don't know the answer, I'll try to find it for you. Thanks, guys, and have a wonderful day. I hope this helps those who asked me to make this video. Wow, listen to that thunder.